Thanks for having us. We are new to the Brand Innovators community, but it's been amazing in this short time. We got to meet Mark and Ryan and Ken, and now we feel like we're part of the family. This is an amazing organization, and happy to be here. I'm Assaf. That's Jules. I'm the looks. He's the brains. That's how this thing works. And I guess we'll talk a little bit, but really, let's have some Q&A and talk and see what's happening. All right, I'll fire off some questions for Jules. Context, I own an ad agency, Superdigital, creative shop. Jules and I own a production company, Coast Productions. We make movies, TV, and films when, I don't know, I guess there's like a strike or something. I don't know. So it's been maybe
tough.
It's
tough time right now.
Not
we staying with them though.
Not when you're good looking like us. Okay, so here are some questions to cue us off for today, and then please feel free, jump in. All right,
that's what you got, Bob.
Jules, my business partner, let me ask you questions I already know the answers to. What are you up to right now?
Yeah, so I retired 2 years ago, going on my third year. I have a podcast. I have a production company. My podcast name is Games with Names. We're on a quest to find the greatest game of all time. We bring in people that have played in these games. We interview them. We talk about pop culture at that time in that specific game, and it's a fun thing. I partnered up with Sam Morrell. He's a comic out of New York, so there's like built-in banter, Boston, New York. I'm also a Bay Area guy, so we have that as well. So it's been awesome. We've had some crazy guests. We've had everyone from Ricky Williams telling his story in college to Peyton Manning when he scored 7 touchdowns, Teddy Bruschi talking about the loss in 18-1 with Eli Manning, which was pretty fun to have both perspectives of that game. So doing Games with Names, I have a production company called Coast Productions. We do a bunch of, we sell TV shows, reality TV, scripted, a little bit of everything. And I'm a father, so I have a little 6-year-old girl right now living here in LA. That's why I'm out here. And, when you're a professional athlete, there's so many things you have to sacrifice, like in regular life when it's the football season, as people who work for this team probably know. And since I've retired, I've gotten to have a lot more time to say yes and go to the birthday parties and pick my kid up at school and do the things that you don't get to do as much when you're playing football.
Before we left, you made macaroni and cheese for your daughter, and you said it was a secret recipe.
Yeah.
Can you tell everybody what that secret recipe is?
You just add 2 single crafts in there.
Perfect. Thank
Kraft slices, a little extra cheese.
The hard-hitting questions, folks. Also, you forgot that you are partners with the Win Pepsi.
Win, Pepsi, Frito-Lays. We got a bunch of stuff coming up. I'm about to, I can't necessarily tell you, but I'll be signing with a network here in the next a couple days, potentially.
That's already too much information.
Yeah, probably too much information.
Right there. Enough.
But yeah, we're going there.
Next week.
TV. I did Inside the NFL, so it's another transition to something like that.
Too much. Who are some teams to be excited about this year?
Teams. I'm excited to see, honestly, being in LA now, I'm excited to see the Rams and the Chargers. The Rams had a terrible year last year after winning a Super Bowl, and a lot of that's because of health. And when you become, America's Most Wanted, when you win that Super Bowl, that next year is so hard because now everyone's circling you on the schedule, and things didn't go their way. And seeing a healthy Matthew Stafford, that would, I'm excited to see that, and also Coop. So, and then also with the Chargers, Justin Herbert going in, got signed in, got a big contract. Brandon Staley kind of on the hot seat, defensive-minded coach. And this is an offensive league, and they've got a lot of talent. They drafted the receiver out of TCU. I'm excited to see with Kellen Moore, who came over from Dallas as offensive coordinator. I want to see what he does with Justin Herbert. I think there's so much potential there. So I'm excited to see those teams. Obviously, the Patriots, with Billy O'Brien coming back as offensive coordinator to help Bill Belichick, I think that'll be good for the team. Seeing Mac in his third year, I want to see how he progresses. And then I have a bunch of, when you play and then you retire, I've been running around and I've been going to all these camps. I went to Las Vegas last week to watch the Raiders and sit in on their meetings and kind of get some insight for the season of talking football coming up here soon, and got to see what they were doing against the 49ers. And then, Josh McDaniels was my offensive coordinator, so I want to see him do well. And then went over to New York and I sat in with Dayball and watched him and his team go Giants. There you go. I'm excited to see what they do, now that they have an expectation. Everyone, when you're flying under the radar, you can get them. But now they got a playoff win. I mean, it's going to be exciting. Daniel Jones, I want to see his progression with having Dayball. There's a lot of football stuff, so I'm excited to see what's going to happen. It's going to be a good year. Football is king right now. What we got?
I've heard that answer too many times. The hard-hitting ones. What is the best burger in Los Angeles?
This guy.
He's a burger connoisseur. This is expertise.
I mean, we're on a burger renaissance right now with everyone with these smash burgers. I mean, they're everywhere. Burger She Wrote, For the Win. Those are some good spots. But I'm telling you, I've been going on these road trips. I grew up in California, and I still just love In-N-Out Burger. I love In-N-Out. It's consistent. It's clean. They take care of their people. You just feel American when you're eating In-N-Out. I feel like a Californian when I'm there, and that goes with it. I love In-N-Out.
That's the wrong answer.
It's a phenomenal burger. Hits every time.
You jumped on it, but tell in detail what Games with Names is about. You kind of touched on it, but explain what the thesis of the show is.
Everyone talks about the GOAT. The greatest of all time, the best player. We're on the GOG. We're looking for the GOG, the greatest of all games. When you go back on Thanksgiving night, the night before Thanksgiving, you see all your high school friends. People are talking, "No, you remember that game? Oh, you remember that game?" And it's so fun to engage with people and talk about historic games that you grew up watching. And that's kind of what we're doing. We're going through and we're finding all these awesome games. We had Brandy Chastain to talk on about when she took her shirt off and how that was, interpreted in that day and how it springboarded pretty much, women's soccer in this country, and then also, Ricky Williams when he went on his hiatus and he became, the guy that was smoking weed. I don't know if you could say that, but, and now it's normal and to hear his perspective that we got from that. So it's been fun just to talk to these awesome people about cool games that they played in and get their perspective.
Great. Why are sports having such a renaissance right now? Why are we all here? What's going on with sports?
I honestly think it's the access that you have in sport. I went to Croatia to do a sports conference last year, and I sat in with Peter Schmeichel. He's like a legend goalkeeper for Manchester United, one of the best of all time. And he said something pretty interesting that American football, they build everything towards the customer. He was so amazed when he came in and he saw the food stands and, you have Wi-Fi and the big jumbo boards. It's built for the experience for the fan. And, with all the access with all these TV shows, you got Hard Knocks, the quarterback that just came out on Netflix. There's so much access to sport, 15 years ago, did anyone in here really say they knew Formula One or cared to know about Formula One? Absolutely not. You're lying if you say yeah, unless you're from the other country. But now, because of that TV show, what is it, Drive to Survive, I mean, you're getting access to see what these athletes do at all times, training, preparing, practicing, their regular life. and it's pretty cool. And sports is a community. A lot of people like to get together and they like to root for their team, and it gives them something to talk about. They go to the bar, they go to this, at the water cooler at work. Everyone's just talking about their team, and it's just there's so much access right now. I think it's awesome. That's why I think it's going pretty strong.
Great answer. You've been one of the most prolific content creators in the NFL. It's true. You know what? You've been one of the most prolific content creators in the NFL. So for context, Julian has had about an 11% roughly aggregate engagement rate for his entire NFL career, which is like astounding statistically for those of you who are data nerds. We always were sort of at the forefront of content. He's always the biggest YouTube content producer, always at the forefront of the new tech, Snap, Instagram, back when that was sort of happening. How hard was it to pull that off in New England? There's a hard coach in New England.
Yeah. Well, as you guys know, Belichick's no fan of the media. Or anything to do with anything that doesn't have anything to do with football. And there's an expectation on how you deal with the media when you play for that team. I was the first kid in the locker room with Instagram. I was the first kid with Twitter in 2009, 2010. Like all the vets, all the old guys, like, what? Get off your phone, Rook. Get in your playbook. What is that? Get off that thing. And at that time, I wasn't like a big name player. And so it gave me a platform to, away from football, to kind of show my personality and hit on things I was interested in my regular life. And I just started having flashbacks. And the crazy thing is, Brady used to yell at me all the time, like, "Get off your fucking phone," or "Get off your phone, get off your phone." Now, and then ending part of my career, he was always on his phone on Instagram. The guy, he was always on it, always. No, and so it was tough because like Bill didn't want that stuff going on, and I would say probably 65 to 75% of the things that we came up with in like a brainstorm room or something, we couldn't do because I felt too uncomfortable at work doing it. Because we'd have, we did this Eisenberg post on Facebook, and this was in 2012. 13. Week four.
Sunday Night Football.
We did this post, and it was like Sunday Night Football, and this thing got hit up, and I was just coming onto my hitting my stride as an athlete or as a pro, and we had how many?
You offered no context. Sunday Night Football, Week 4, Pats, Falcons, was the same night as the Breaking Bad series finale.
Breaking Bad's, yeah.
We post
something, and it got a bunch of hits, and I felt very uncomfortable going into work the next day because everyone was talking about it, and even some of the coaches, so there's a lot of stuff you have to deal with, and you had to find that fine line because now with football players, athletes in general, it's crazy. You don't know if they want to be good at their sport or if they want to be famous. You know what I mean? So I was always the guy that I wanted everything on the field, and I wanted everyone to know that everything was about the field. And then there was other stuff that I was interested in doing, and that was tough to get going with, also getting numbers and doing all that stuff.
Like the hot tub video.
Which one?
Bill's hot tub video. Tell them about the hot tub video.
Yeah, so we did a animation. We had these series of animations that we would do with me storytelling. And there was one time we did it where I'm telling the story and we animate it, and it's me and Bill. It was my second year, and I was just so excited to be on the team. I went to Kent State University where you had to pay for Gatorades. I loved that we had free Gatorade, we had protein shakes, we had a hot tub, a cold tub, a sauna. I lived in the area. I lived there 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night in the off season. I'd just be hanging out there, and one time I walk in to the hot tub area, the aqua room, and I see Bill in there, and we lock on eyes. And so I had to go sit in because I was in my trunks, and I sit in, and he's very, like, not really welcoming. You know what I mean? Like, the guy doesn't really, like, love to talk. Especially I was a new kid on the team, and, like, he's like a robot. And, we're sitting there, I'm on my phone, and all of a sudden he gets out, and he's bare knuckle Barry in there with no trunks on, and there's like the big sign on in the hot tub, like, room, you got to have trunks on. And so it was weird. And then, by the grace of God, we both get out and we time up, and like all these facilities, like a maze to get out to like the parking lot. And me and Bill just so happened to walk out together, and it's like probably like an 80-yard walk. And so we're walking, not a sound, not a peep, nothing. And I'm a little behind him. And finally, when I got enough courage, I mustered up some courage right when we were about to get to our cars. I go, "Hey, Coach, man, it's pretty cool that, like, you're in here in March watching film, doing all this stuff." And he looks at me and says, "Edelman, it beats being a plumber. See you tomorrow." And that's all he said to me. But that's what it was in New England. It was business, and that's why, it was pretty impressive that we were able to build the following and have the success we've had with all our social platforms in that environment, which, he's softened up a little bit, and he's been kind of cooler with it. And what's up, bud? How you doing? Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just skip through the rest of these. On that note, content creation, we've done it all. We've made Joe Burrow's first ad for Nerf, right? We made Steph Curry's video. We made videos for brands and everything over the years. And I think the one that we talk about the most is last year. We did a deal. We have a great partnership with The Win. And before it was a formal partnership, they gave Jules a little bit of cash for a post. So tell them what you did.
Yeah, they gave me $100,000, and they're like, "We have a marketing budget of $100,000. Do what you guys want to do." And so I went up to Assaf. I was like, "Why don't we just put it and make a parlay?" And that's what we did. I went and gambled all that money, and I took it on for the Patriots to meet.
This is a marketing budget from a brand. Yeah. This isn't some guy who gave him some cash.
I went in and put it on that the Buccaneers would play, the Pats in the Super Bowl, and we filmed it, and it was like it hit. I think we had over 70 million
impressions
in 2 days and 2 weeks or whatever, and it was like a huge success. But that goes to just kind of learning the internet. The internet is undefeated, and how do you join them? Because they're coming out for you. And it was one of those things where, because of the community that I've built in our little area and the people that follow me, we kept on seeing, like, what are these kids doing? What are these guys doing? What are these people doing? All these followers. And a lot of them are gambling. So, like, I was like, why don't we just do this? And, it was a slam dunk, and, the Win's happy. I was not happy after, because that was my budget. So, like, I did it for free.
It wasn't your budget. It was money that was there, and you just did it. And by the way, I'm a seasoned marketing vet, 20 years. I said, this is not going to work. We're going to get into infinite trouble. That campaign turned into a monstrous partnership with the Win. So,
yeah, it was good.
Kudos.
It was fun. But, going into like social, it's so crazy, because there'd be things that we would work on over the time that we thought, like, this is going to be what was that one video that we did after we used to do these pop-up shops, and we would make these content videos to like promote the pop-up shops. And we did the artist one.
Yeah, we did you guys remember the movie Exit Through the Gift Shop?
Exit Through the Gift Shop.
The
Banksy thing. We tried to do like a spoof on that, and no, it didn't hit. Like, I thought this was going to be the best, and then we do something on a camera phone, gambling money, and like it went through the roof. So
trial and error.
Trial and error.
All right, we're boring these people. Let's ask questions.
Any questions? What do we got over there from the Boston guy?
Yeah. So you talk about greatest games of all time. So can you talk about what you were thinking in your head when you guys were down 28-3 against the Falcons in the Super Bowl? And also, you made a tremendous catch in that game, I'm sure you remember. Can you talk about like that catch, particularly what you were thinking then?
Yeah. We went into halftime. I was like the rah-rah guy. Like, it's gonna be a hell of a story, guys. We're gonna do it. We're gonna go out there. It's first half, and the defense has a stop. We go 3 and out. We stop them. We punt. They punt the ball to us. I have a pretty good return, and that first third down, I dropped a ball. I routed up Alford across the middle, and I dropped the third down. Like, after that, I'm sitting there like, man, I was the guy that was saying they were going to win. I'm doing math in my head. Can we get this? They go and score another touchdown. Then it gets to 28-3. But, that was just a microcosm of that season with that team. Each team has its own personality and their own traits, and that was such a mentally tough team, especially with what we were going through in 2016. That was the year Brady was suspended the first 4. We didn't have him. We trade Jimmy Garoppolo. We get hurt in a bunch of important positions, and guys just kind of just worried about what they had to do to make themselves successful. And if everyone on the team does that collectively as a unit, that's when you succeed. So, it was one of those things where, you knew that you couldn't win a game. Everyone was saying you can't win the game with one play. Like, let's just put our best foot forward and just keep going and grinding away, because in the first half we did move the ball. Like, we were doing well. It's just we turned the ball over in the red area. We had 2 turnovers. We weren't scoring points in the red area. We were terrible on third down. And like, once we kind of got back into it, the flow of it, we were able to do that in the second half, and guys making plays when they had to. It was crazy, so. And then with the catch, I do these I used to do these tennis ball drills like every morning. I'd wake up at like 4:50. I'd get to the facility at 5:30. I'd have like my equipment guy, and we'd go through these series of reaction tennis ball drills with like yellow, red, over changing up arm angles, catching multiple.
Well, all right. These people want to drink.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, we're good. Thanks for having us.